Hey y'all, today we're making a bloomin' onion in the air fryer. Okay, so obviously, of course, you're going to need an onion. This is the onion I'm using. It's a pretty big onion, but it's just a regular size onion. It's not one of those, mutant onions that they use at the restaurants. I don't even know where they get an onion that big. But you're going to just cut a little bit of the top part off where your onion will sit flat, and then peel off, the outer layer or layers, however much you need to get off of there. And then I just kind of cleaned the root up a little bit and pulled some of the longer little pieces of root off. But you want to keep your root intact because that's going to keep your onion from falling apart, okay? And just maybe, I don't know, an eighth of an inch, quarter inch out from the root, you're going to just take a knife and just slice all the way down to the bottom. Then you're going to turn it. It was just easier for me to, get the pieces the right size. If I cut one side, then the other, then half of that, you can see what I'm doing. And then you're going to do this until you get about 16 different pieces. Does that make sense? 16 different slices. Then when you flip it over, your onion will bloom. Isn't that pretty, y'all? And a lot of people take that center part out, the little root, or I don't know what it's called, the core part. But I'm going to take it out after we cook it. But I'm going to leave it in for right now because I didn't want to risk pulling it and the whole onion falling apart. So I'm just going to do it after it's cooked. So I'm going to use 3 bowls for this. I put my onion in one bowl. This is just the easiest way that I feel like that you don't end up getting stuff I don't know. You'll see the process as I go along. So to the other bowl, the next bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of flour. I'm using all-purpose, but y'all, you can use whatever kind of flour you have. Any of it will work. And then you're going to want to season this up. Now, I used salt and pepper. Obviously, you can see. I used garlic powder, onion powder. I added a little bit of cumin. I added some paprika. And then I added just a touch of cayenne pepper to mine, because I wanted to give it like that good flavor. And I had looked up a lot of recipes, like the seasoning parts, and I really love the ones they have at, Texas Roadhouse? I love but they don't call it a bloomin' onion there. What do they call it? I can't think of what they call it there, but they don't call it a bloomin' onion, but it's good regardless. So anyway, these are the seasonings I settled on. I think this might be the Outback recipe. So I started up, and after I got all the seasonings in, and if y'all watched my video, I think last week when I talked about when you mix flour and seasonings together, I always taste it just a little bit, not enough to make you sick because you're eating raw flour, but just a little taste. And if I can't taste the seasonings, I need to add some more. And that's what happened there. I needed more seasoning, so I added more in. So to our third bowl, we're going to add in 2 eggs. We're going to add in 1 cup of milk, and instead of adding 2 cups of milk, I'm adding a cup of milk and a cup of water. Okay, it'll thin that out just a little bit, but it will still help, everything cling to your onion. So don't worry about that. The milk and the water, I don't know, it just saves you a little milk. It turns out the same. It's fine, but you can do it however you want to. And then I went in and added the same seasonings that we had in the flour into the milk mixture also. So now comes the messy part, okay? So first off, I'm going to start with my little scooper, and I'm going to just kind of scoop it up, and you can see what I'm doing, kind of dump it down. You want to make sure you get it in between all the little petals of your onion. You want flour on everything, okay? Flip it over, get some on the bottom. Then what you're going to do is pick your onion up, and you're going to shake it off to try to get a good bit of that flour out of there, because you don't want it just caked with flour. And then I dump the flour back in the flour bowl because we're going to need that again, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that egg, milk, and water mixture, and I'm just going to pour that right into the bowl that the onion is sitting in, okay? Like I said, to me, if you're trying to move the onion and dip it in the flour, then move it over to the egg and then move it. It just seemed easier to just kind of do some of it in the same bowl. Does that make sense? Any way you want to do it, you got to coat it with flour, coat it with egg mixture, and coat it with flour again. Like I said, this is just the way that I found that's the easiest to do it. So I'm just making sure that all of the little petals have the egg mixture on it, okay? So now this is going to be the really messy part because now you have to get your hands into it. So if you have an aversion to touching stuff, put you some gloves on. You'll be fine, I promise. But I don't mind it. Make sure your hands are clean, obviously, because I'm putting my hands all in flour and stuff. My hands are clean, I promise. But make sure your hands are clean, and then you're going to take your onion, flip it over, and let a good bit of that egg and milk mixture just kind of drain off of your onion. Then you're just going to plop it down in your flour, and then we're going to do kind of the same that we did earlier. We're going to scoop all that flour up. We're going to make sure that it gets down in between all of the little petals in our onion. And I think when you start moving it around, like, you can pick it up, just be gentle with it so it doesn't fall apart. But you'll kind of need to pick it up, flip it over, shake it out. Just make sure that your flour is good and coated, because that's going to be the crunchy part of your onion, right? So now what we're going to do, once we get it all good and floured that second time, you're going to pick it up, shake off as much flour as you can. You're not going to be able to get, all of it off, obviously, because you want some of it stuck to your onion. But you want to get as much flour off as you can, and then you're going to put it down on a piece of aluminum foil. The aluminum foil is just going to make it a lot easier to move this around, and then it's not, going to get stuck to your air fryer basket or your air fryer rack or whatever. So just sort of make a little bit of a bowl. It's not going to drain, so it doesn't have to catch anything. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can see what I'm doing. But I've just kind of made a little bowl out of it. And then you're going to need to get some cooking spray. And you're going to need to coat this onion in the cooking spray. You want everything to get a little cooking spray because, again, the little bit of oil on top of that flour is what's going to make your onion crispy, okay? If you don't put any oil on here, you're just going to kind of have some dry flour, if that makes sense. Y'all understand what I'm saying? I know y'all do. So I just went around. Now put it on my air fryer rack, and when I moved it around a little bit, I noticed some spots I had missed. So I just went back and sprayed those, and then I pick it up and look at there. I see some more spots that I missed. So you really have to kind of get in there and turn it around and look at it from all sides. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to put this in the air fryer, 375 degrees Fahrenheit, for a total of about 30 minutes. But about every 10 minutes, I went in there, pulled it out, and if there were any dry, floury spots, I went ahead and sprayed it with oil again. Otherwise, it'll get kind of dry, but not very crispy, if that makes sense. And you don't want a lot of just loose cooked flour, if that makes any sense at all. So just keep doing that until your onion is completely done. If it starts getting too dark on the tips, just cover it with a little bit of foil, but you want to cook it until it's crispy and your petals pull apart. Y'all, this bloomin' onion is so good. You can make you some sauce to go with it, or just dip it in ranch dressing. All right, that's all I've got for y'all today. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.